Team Fortress 2 is a game with a whole lot of hidden mechanics and features. Some of them more obvious and well known than others. And I figure why not personally test out some of these mechanics and stats that I've been curious about. Because I think it's interesting. Maybe you will too. Probably not, but that's what we're gonna find out in this TF2 Extras video. Alright, we're gonna start things off with the Enforcer. In the Meet Your Match update, the Enforcer was giving a Pierce resistance effect gimmick. So presumably it's meant to deal full damage to anyone or anything that offers bullet or revolver resistance. This whole stat is kind of notoriously non-functional. There are a total of 8 things in this game that give either bullet or revolver resistance. So let's go over each and every one of those real quick just to see if it actually works. The Battalion's Backup's Rage effect will make the soldier who used it and his nearby teammates take 35% less damage. The Enforcer does not bypass that. When a heavy is spun up with the Brass Beast or the Natasha and below 150 health, he will take 20% less damage. The Enforcer actually does deal full damage to a heavy in that situation. The Fists of Steel, which are probably the first weapon I think of when I think of resistance weapons, will still block 40% of the Enforcer's damage. Okay, so for sentries, this might be a slightly obscure mechanic on its own, but if a spy saps a sentry and then shoots it with his revolver, it will deal 33% less damage. So an engineer sentry will basically get a special revolver resistance against the spy who sapped it. The revolver has a base damage of 40, and as you can see, it's only dealing 26 damage. The Enforcer also only deals 26 damage. It does not bypass that revolver resistance. And it also will not pierce through the Wrangler shield. It does, however, work on the Vaccinator's bullet resistance bubble. But it doesn't deal full damage against a Cloaked Spy. A Cloaked Spy would normally take 20% less damage from all sources, and apparently that includes the Enforcer. The total is 3 out of 8. The Enforcer's Pierce gimmick only works on 3 out of the 8 weapons that it should. That's not even half. It's already a pretty situational upside, but the fact that it doesn't work most of the time makes it basically worthless. And guess what? It even deals neutral damage to some enemies with vulnerabilities. Where it would normally deal more damage, it's just doing the normal amount. It's a mess. Okay, so in the Love and War update, miniguns were given damage and accuracy ramp up for the first second after firing. And it's been adjusted a few times since then, most notably in Jungle Inferno, but then I realized I never knew exactly how much that damage ramp up actually was. Like how much less damage it actually did when you first start firing. And given how much I play heavy, I gotta know this ton of stuff. First off, a bullet from the minigun has a base damage of 9, and 4 bullets are fired per 1 unit of ammo. So after the 1 second damage ramp up is gone, 1 unit of ammo from the stock minigun will deal 54 damage at the closest range if all 4 bullets connect. Okay? Simple enough. Next, I tested spinning up by just holding down the primary fire and firing 1 unit of ammo as soon as possible under the same conditions. It did 27 damage, meaning that the minigun's damage penalty starts at minus 50%, then decreases over the course of 1 second. So I'm assuming that this means that if you're spun up for half a second, the damage penalty is minus 25%. Yeah, this was a pretty major nerf when it came out, and not one that I think was especially necessary. Honestly, if they really needed to add ramp up like that, it should have always been the way that it was post Jungle Inferno. After that update, the ramp up applies as soon as the minigun starts spinning up and only resets when you spin down. Originally, every time you started firing and then stopped firing, the ramp up would apply again. So now, as long as you're spun up for more than a second, it's always going to deal the full damage. Okay, and finally, the Jungle Inferno update also made it so that Afterburn reduces Medigun healing and resistance shield effects by 20% instead of the direct flamethrower damage doing it by 25%. Obviously, this whole shield resist thing is referring to the Vaccinator, and I want to see what exactly that meant. The Vaccinator's shields resist 75% of a specific damage type, and as I expected, it's basically as if you multiplied 75 by 0.8. It's only going to resist 60% if you're on fire. As you can see here, the grenade does 40 damage. But something sorta interesting happened when I was testing this. I got a random crit and it did 80 damage. Normally, the Vaccinator's shield will absorb all crit damage. If that medic wasn't burning, it would only have done 25. Instead, the Afterburn makes it so that you only absorb 80% of crit damage. A critical grenade will normally deal 100 explosive damage plus 200 critical damage. When on fire, the Vaccinator's explosive shield reduces the explosive damage by 60%, bringing it down to 40, and the critical damage by 80%, also bringing it down to 40. Which makes sense. It's basically how I assumed it would be. It's just interesting to see it actually in practice. At least I think so. Afterburn here was the difference between taking 25 damage and 80. So basically the moral of the story here is light Vaccinator medics on fire. And that's it for today, buckos! I'll probably do these kind of videos every once in a while because I'd probably be testing this stuff normally even if I wasn't making a video, but why not make it a video? Right? Am I right? So if there's anything you guys want to see, you could leave it in a comment. Any kind of mechanic or weird stat. Maybe I'll show it, maybe I won't. That's my guarantee. Maybe I'll do it. Good guarantee, I think. Alright, see you next time. Bye-bye!